Somebody is talking, and you don't know what the acronym means. You've been in the role 4 months. It's the job you wanted. You pushed for it. You were pleased when it landed. And roughly twice a day since, someone has said a sentence to you in perfectly ordinary English that you have not fully understood. You nod. You write it down to look up later. You have a document now of things to look up later. And running underneath all of it is a low, constant hum that goes, at some point somebody is going to work out that I am not actually able to do this. Here's what almost everyone does with that feeling, and why all 3 ways of managing it make the thing you're afraid of more likely, not less. Then I'll tell you about a man who was so obviously the least talented student in the room that the others gave him a nickname for it, and who ended up running the school. 3 doors. The first is to cover. You get very good at the appearance of competence. You learn the vocabulary before you understand the thing the vocabulary refers to. You develop a way of nodding that buys you the 20 seconds you need. And it works. That's the trap. It genuinely works. Nobody catches you. But look at the cost. Every conversation is now a performance you have to keep up, which means every conversation costs you about 3 times what it costs everyone else, and none of them are teaching you anything. You are spending your entire capacity on not being found out at exactly the point in your career when you needed that capacity for learning. And the second door is to over-prepare. If you can't be quick, you'll be thorough. So you work the extra hours before every meeting, you read everything, you arrive with the answer to a question nobody was going to ask. And this is the respectable one, so it's worth being precise about the failure. It doesn't scale. There will be a week when you cannot pre-read your way to safety, and you will have built no other way of being in the room. You've bought a temporary confidence at the price of never developing the real one. The third door is the quietest, and it's the one that ends careers. You avoid, not dramatically. You just find that you volunteer for the parts you already know how to do. You are the one who picks up the thing you're good at every time because it's a relief. And 6 months of that is a person who has been in the role half a year and has learned only the things they arrive knowing. You didn't get worse. Everyone around you got better, which looks identical from the inside and isn't. Here's the thread tying all 3 together. Every one of them treats not knowing as a fact about you that has to be hidden, rather than as the ordinary condition of anybody doing something for the first time. Epictetus said something about this that is almost rude in how directly it lands. If you want to improve, he told his students, be content to appear foolish and stupid with regard to external things. Be content. Not endure it, not push through it. Be content to look like the person in the room who doesn't get it. He is describing the price of admission, and he is saying that if you're not willing to pay it, you have simply opted out of getting better. And there's a man in the history of this philosophy who is the whole argument in one life. His name was Cleanthes. He came to Athens with almost nothing. He had been a boxer, and he arrived with, by one account, 4 drachmas to his name. He wanted to study with Zeno, the founder of the school, and he could not afford to. So he took a job carrying water at night in the gardens, and he studied during the day. He was not quick. That is not a modern reinterpretation. It is what the people in the room thought at the time. His fellow students called him the ass. He was slow. He was laborious. He took longer than everybody else to get to the thing. And Cleanthes accepted the nickname. His answer to it was that he was indeed the ass, because he alone was strong enough to carry Zeno's load. He outlasted every clever man in that room. When Zeno died, Cleanthes succeeded him and ran the Stoic school for the next 3 decades. The quick ones are not in the story. We do not have their names. Now the moves. 3 of them. Move 1. Ask in the room, not after it. This is the whole episode in one instruction, and it is the one you will not want to do. When the acronym goes past, you say, "Sorry, what's SDR in this context?" In the meeting. Out loud. In front of the people whose opinion you think decides your year. 2 things happen, and neither is the one you're braced for. The first is that somebody else in that room did not know either, and you have just done them a favor they will remember. The second is subtler, and it is the reason this works. Asking a clear question about something specific reads as confidence, not ignorance, because a person who is frightened of looking stupid never asks anything. Everybody knows that instinctively. So the question itself is the signal. Move 2. Say your competence out loud in the same sentence as the gap. Not, "I don't know," full stop. That hands the room a problem and no plan. Instead, "I haven't run one of these before. I've done the modeling side, and I'll want half an hour with Priya on the rest." Look at what that sentence does. It names the gap precisely, which stops it being a vague fog of maybe not good enough. It names what you do have, which is usually most of it, and it names the specific thing you'll do about it. That's not an admission. That's a plan with an honest first line, and it is what senior people actually sound like. Move 3. Take the ass's work. Cleanthes carried water. Your version is the piece of the job that is genuinely hard and genuinely unglamorous. The thing nobody volunteers for, because it takes months, and there's no clean win in it. Take that. Not for the credit, because there isn't much. Take it because in 18 months you will be the only person who understands it. And understanding a hard thing all the way to the bottom is the only route out of feeling like a fraud that actually works. Reassurance doesn't do it. Competence does, and competence is just time spent on something difficult. Because here's what the covering, the over-preparing and the avoiding all miss. The feeling doesn't go away when you get good. Ask anybody senior. It goes away when you stop treating it as evidence. You are not out of your depth because something has gone wrong. You are out of your depth because you moved. That is what moving feels like from the inside every single time. And the only people who never feel it are the people who stopped. So here's the rule. Write it down. Be seen learning. It's cheaper than being seen coping. Tomorrow, 3 things. 1. The next time a word goes past that you don't know, ask what it means, in the room, within 10 seconds. 2. The next time you're handed something you haven't done, say the sentence, what you haven't done, what you have, and who you need half an hour with. 3. Pick the hard, boring piece of your job nobody wants and put your name on it this week. You will not be able to feel qualified. Cleanthes never looked qualified. They called him the ass to his face, and he ran the school for 30 years. What you always control is whether you spend the next year performing competence or building it. Master that, and being out of your depth stops being a secret and starts being a description of where the learning is. If this helped, like it and subscribe. There's a new one every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And do one more thing. Send this to the person who apologizes for asking questions in meetings. You know exactly who they are. They'll insist they're fine, and then they'll watch it a second time with the sound up. The journal's in the description if you want the weekly version. And watch this one next. The decision you've been avoiding for a year.